Hello everyone. I just want to pop in to test a little bit of our audio because of course we want to make sure that our audio is working fine. So please chat if you're hearing this. Let us know if the audio is okay. And of course I'm just gonna let the other people that are joining me speak a little bit so that you can tell our feedback in their audios. So please, first Dapper and then Elena, please just test your microphones, please.
Hi guys, let me know, is my mic working fine?
Hi everyone, let me know if you can hear me okay.
Cool. Cool. So we'll be right back. Hope you're all excited. And yeah, just wait for that. Thank you so much for waiting. Hello, everyone. Welcome to our stream today. And I'm so happy to be doing this. We're going to talk a little bit about Unity fundamentals. And I'm super happy to have awesome people with me and our host, of course, which is a creator that you probably know. And I just want, first to introduce myself. I'm Andre from Unity. I'm an online evangelist. I also have a YouTube channel. It's called Mix and Jam. But I want to introduce the awesome people that are here with me. So our host, Dapper, which is Nathan, please just say hello and, say hello to your audience or anyone in the chat that's talking to you. Sorry for that. I think your audio was muted. Please repeat. Thank you.
How could you do this? Thanks everyone for watching. I hope you're looking forward to making a simple game today. I'm Nathan from Dapper Dino. I didn't mention that part first, but yeah, I hope you enjoyed the stream.
Awesome. And I'm also joined by Elena, which is also from Unity, and she's going to be helping us to co-host this with a lot of extra information. So take it away, Elena.
Hi guys, thank you so much for joining us today. In our regular day jobs, I actually work with Andre. We're in the same team, and I'm really excited to be here again with you today. This is our third live stream, and we're so excited that all of you are in chat. If you have any questions, please ask us. We have amazing people from Unity and from all over our community out there available for you. And of course, if you have questions for our host and a co-host, let us know in the chat, and I'll make sure to deliver it to them while they're getting into the project.
Awesome. Thank you so much, guys, for, being so excited about this. So what we're going to do today, and I really wanted to show you because we're going to work on Dapper's project that he made specifically for this stream, but I want to show you the final results just so you know what can be possible to achieve with this little project or prototype. So this is the actual game exported by Dapper in the Unity Connect service. And what we'll be doing in this stream is we're going to be modifying the project in order to get this working. So we're going to have the blocks, but we need to build them and create logic using GameObjects and Components to put those together. And so, yeah, I mean, I don't have really good shooting skills without any sort of,
Aim assist.
indications. Yeah, aim assist. What? Wait, what? No, I mean, but this is going to be really fun because as you guys can see, this is a level structured game. So this will enable you to create your own levels if you learn and follow this along with us. And I guess I just want to, before we start actually opening the project, I want to talk to you a little bit, Nathan. I just want you to tell people what is your channel and who are you and what are you doing, and of course what we're doing today.
Yeah, so I'm Nathan. As I mentioned earlier, I run the Dapper Dino platform. We're currently developing our website for aspiring software developers, and we also run a YouTube channel where I post daily, Monday through Friday, Unity-related tutorials for all levels, beginners, intermediate, advanced users. And then today, we're going to be building this game you see Andre playing now. There's a few more levels in this, and we're going to start off by making the player fire, and then making them be able to aim and move around, and then shoot the enemies, deflect. We'll add some sound effects, some particle effects, and then we'll be done with the finished project at the end of the stream.
Okay, I might stop playing because this is, I'm not doing so great.
We'll
But,
be here forever, so.
hopefully people in the chat or people that are going to play are much better than I do. Hopefully, I expect so. But anyways, yeah, that's very cool. Thank you so much for joining Dapper. I think that is very cool for us to see all of our creators doing awesome things, and of course participating and supporting everyone to build this awesome community where everyone learns. So thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, thanks for inviting me.
No worries. So two things before we actually start. So first, make sure to follow the instructions that we have in the description of this live event that we have. I'll go a little bit through what we need to do. But the other thing is that we really want you to be participating with us. We want you to be an active part of this. And I'm gonna take this to Elena because she can explain to us what is it that we want you to help and participate, and how you can win some cool stuff. So what's that all about, Elena?
That's right. So guys, as you know, we love seeing what you do. We love seeing how you modify what we do here live, and just understanding what's exciting for you, and that you're taking part in this. And of course, to thank you guys for being here with us today and for participating. We have really awesome prizes. So we're going to give away 4 gift cards to a Unity Gear Shop, and they're $75 each. To enter, all you got to do is to share with us what you're currently doing with the project, whether it's a GIF, or a screenshot. Make sure to tweet it at Unity, and of course, you can tag our host and co-host. And the most important thing you have to remember, you have to use our hashtag. So our hashtag today is CreatorStream. So that's how we will be looking out for those projects on Twitter. And we will pick the winners, we'll announce them so you know who they are. So we're really, really excited to see what you guys are going to get with your $75 gift card to Unity Gear Shop. You can be totally geared up and really cool, official Unity stuff.
Awesome. Yeah, that's great. That definitely is exciting. And not only the prizes part, but I'm super excited. I'm sure Dapper is as well, to just browse out Twitter or anything that we can just see you guys actually modifying. I think that part of what makes these streams really exciting is not only what we're doing, but also to see you guys, actively participating. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And thank you, Elena, for introducing everyone to that idea. Okay, so why don't we get started? I guess and please remember that we might, if you guys want us to go slower or faster, or more questions or anything, we'll make sure to pay attention to chat and try to reply as much as we can. I saw that someone asked in the chat that what was Dapper's channel is called Dapper Dino.
There you
Dapper
go.
Dino, not Dapper's. Dapper. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Okay. So why don't we just get started? So here's the thing, right? Nathan prepared this project for us that we're gonna use as a base to learn about the fundamentals of Unity in terms of game objects and components. Don't worry, we're gonna learn more about it. And the way like by following the instructions we have, you'll be fine to go along. But I'll just tell you a little bit of how we should set up things in case you didn't do it yet. So in the description of this video, we have a link for a project, right? Nathan's project. And what's it going to basically do is you're going to download this zip file, and all you need to do is you need to extract this zip file so that you have this little folder over here. And of course, in my case, I already have the project open, but if you want to add it, you just need to open Unity Hub, and here you see this little add button. If you click here, you just need to select the little folder that we just extracted from that zip. And then you should be good to go. And once you click it, of course, I already have it open. This is a project you're going to see, right? And then we have basically a lot of challenges to go through here. So step by step. And of course, if you're a really beginner, it's one thing that's really important is to just learn what is like what's the structure, but most importantly, how to move around. And I feel like I want to focus a little bit on how to move around because that's the first thing. And as you can see here, I'm in the what we call the scene view, which is the bare bones structure of what your game looks like. This is not the actual game output, like how it looks, how it's gonna look when you prepare it. If you go to the game tab over here, which I'm gonna zoom in, right? This little game tab is when you can actually see the final outcome of your game. So the scene view is really just the structure of how every game object is placed, right? But anyways, a good way to move around this scene view, which is the part where we have the structure, is by right-clicking here in the scene view with the mouse and holding, and this way we can aim around. And we can also move using the WASD keys that are just moving exactly like a first-person shooter game. So in terms of being introduced to the tool, I feel like this is a pretty cool way to move around. So we don't have to worry too much about all the rest of the layout, but we will be explaining a little bit more about those. If you open the project and it's not in the scene, the one way you can get the scene, the first scene to get running, is you see here on the bottom part of the software, we have this window that's called project. And this window is kind of like the window where it's similar to any operational system where you can see all your files based on your project, and then you can navigate here, right? So double click on folders to enter. And to access this scene, you just have to double click on the scenes folder, and then you can see all the different scenes. If I click here on scene 1, you'll see that, well, and maybe in your case, this little window will pop up, which is something that Dapper has prepared. So in every scene, there's a different pop-up, as you can see, and with specific challenges. And that's exactly what we're gonna do in this stream. We're gonna go through scene to scene, and then we're gonna see what's the challenge. And of course, Dapper's gonna walk us through the challenges and see what's the best way to do it and how he would do it in this specific project. So I'm just gonna dock this. As you can see, I just need to drag this at this tab and it docks. I'm just gonna dock this over here because why not? And I'm just gonna let Nathan take it away and go through challenge number 1, make the turret fire. So how do we actually make this turret fire?
I think before we get into the challenge specifically, let's actually talk about game objects themselves and components, what they are. So what we can do is in this top left window where it says scene 1 and hierarchy. So let Andre get his mouse back. We have 2 game objects, and all a game object is a thing, really. Our turret is a thing in our game, and you can ignore the other one. We're only going to be modifying the turret today. And with that game object, you can actually open it up as a prefab. And what that allows you to do is allows you to edit it on its own, separate from everything else. So you see Andre's clicked this little arrow button, this little triangle, and that allows you to see all the game objects connected to this one. So why don't we actually go and create an empty game object to teach them the basics?
Yeah, sure. And that can be an empty game object, or it could be, for example, a cube. Maybe we should create a cube. So
yeah, let's go for cube.
Yeah, exactly. So as you can see here on the top toolbar section, you see this little game object window that we can click, and then we can select a 3D object because we just said that we want a cube. So we go to 3D object, and then we select a cube, and that's gonna create a cube in our scene, right? And like Nathan said, now in the hierarchy, instead of just 2 objects that were already there, we have a third one, which is automatically named cube. So you can see that basically on the hierarchy, we have everything that exists in the scene. And when I click it in the hierarchy, there's other settings on the right, which is our inspector. And there's a lot here that's like very fundamental, it's like very important. So I'll just let Nathan keep going with his explanation, and so we can figure out exactly what's going on right now.
Okay, so the thing Andre added was a game object, which, as I said, is just a thing. It doesn't actually have any data on it, any logic. It doesn't do anything. But because we selected the default cube, it actually added some components for us. So if we actually look on the right where his cursor is, we have some different components. We have the transform, the mesh filter, the mesh renderer, and the box collider. And each of these things give the cube behavior. It gives them mechanics, how they work in your game. So the first one we're going to look at is the transform component.
Yeah.
That tells you the position of your object, rotation, and the scale.
Yeah. So the thing is, in this component, right? This is, I think it's important to mention also, Nathan, that this component is always present in every object, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so every object independently, if it's an empty game object or an actual pre-made thing, they'll always have the position because they need that information to know where they are placed in the scene, right? So as Nathan just mentioned, we have this component here that sets position, rotation, and scale. And so here you can see that it's already positioned somewhere in the scene. And if we want to change that, we just need to drag here right before the number so we can change the position of the X, Y, and also Z axis, right? We can also do the same with the rotation here, here, and the same with scale. But of course, this is not the best way to change a scene unless you want to be very specific and type a number. But the other best way to move things around and modify those specific transform settings is by using the gizmos. So you can see here on the top left corner that we have the move tool, the rotate tool, and the scale tool. So we just need to click on those to open up this gizmos that allows us to move things around, right? The gizmos to rotate, and finally the gizmos to scale. And the shortcut that, if you're familiar with other 3D softwares like Blender or Maya, you could use shortcuts like W, E, R to bring those up. So W is the move one, E is the rotate one, and R is the rotate one. So this
Scale one. You meant scale one.
Oh yeah, sorry. Scale. Thank you. And so these are this is the easiest way to make modifications to the transform component, right? Like immediately. And you can see here that by grabbing specific arrows, I can move around. By grabbing specific axis on a rotation, I can rotate it around and scale. This one in the middle scales every axis in the same way. I'm just gonna Control Z. And basically, this is the way that we modify the first component. But of course, this project is all about understanding the roles of game objects, basically here on the left, and components on the right here, right? We have the transform component and the other ones that are pre-made with the cube that I already collapsed. So this is what we're going to be doing basically today to go through over those fundamentals. So why don't we go ahead and start checking out those fundamentals in the actual challenge that we have.
Okay, let's go try actually do challenge one.
I'm just gonna delete this cube.
Yep.
With the delete key.
Okay, so if Andre clicks on the turret, I've made this a prefab, which is just so that we can edit this object on its own in isolation. So to do that, he has to press the open button at the top right after you've selected the turret.
I'm gonna zoom in. I think it's cool that we mentioned that like prefabs are just a way to like organize things. So I create data for your whole object that you prepared, and they usually are highlighted like the little blue font. And when we click it, if it's a prefab, like Nathan just said, it'll have this little open button here on the left. Not left, sorry, in the right, but like on the left button. So if we press that, we go to the isolated mode of just focusing on the prefab. And this is a pretty cool way to, check things around and be organized or whatnot. So, go ahead, Nathan, you can take it away.
All right, so now we're actually going to try making the turret shoot. So to do that, we're going to, first of all, give it the location to shoot from. Like, where's the projectile going to spawn?
Yeah.
Do you want me to continue? Okay, so on the turret barrel, if we click on that game object, you'd see the barrel is the top part of the weapon. The problem is, if we were to just spawn the projectile in at the position of this barrel, it would actually spawn inside of the barrel. And the problem there is that it could hit itself and you might damage yourself, or it just doesn't look good. You want to spawn it at the end of the barrel. So we can actually make an empty game object that has just the transform component to tell it, this is where I want to spawn our projectile. So go ahead and do that then, Andre.
Yeah, so in order to create like empty game objects, we could do the same method here, but an easier way to just adding an empty game object here to this barrel is by right-clicking the turret barrel object and pressing here and create empty. And you can see that it'll create this game object is specifically at the same position and rotation as the barrel. So we just want to move it a little bit forward, right, to in front of the barrel, so that this will be our spawn point for the thing. Of course, let's rename it to awesome spawn point. Why not? And is there any specific value here that you recommend using, Nathan?
So for mine, I used a value of 1.6, though whatever works for you.
Yeah, we'll just do that. Why not? And now we have an empty game object, right? That is, we're going to be referencing as the point for our component logic, right? So
yeah, we're going to tell it this is where to spawn our bullet.
yeah. So what's our next step then?
So our next step is to actually add the component that has the logic for firing the projectile. And we're going to go put that on the barrel. So if we click on the barrel, on the right where you see all the components, there is a handy button to add a new component. So go ahead and you get lists of all the components in the engine sorted into different categories. We can actually search specifically. We want to go for the component I made that makes a projectile launch called launch projectile. So if we just search that.
Launch projectile. Yeah.
Okay. And now we've got some different fields to fill in, just like how Andre filled in some numbers earlier to move the object around and scale it and rotate it. We've got some things to fill in here. So let's go through and set them all.
Yeah, sure. So I can see here the different fields here saying game object. So this is pretty cool because it connects to what we're all talking about. Like we're going to be linking game objects. And how is it exactly that we link? I think that a good way to understand this is Unity is made in such a way that it's easy to drag and drop things. So either that, right? Or we could use this little circle icon. And I'm just gonna zoom here to kind of like find what are all the game objects, either in the scene or either in the assets folder, which is our project root. But there is a reason why game objects are placed around, and of course Dapper knows more about this specifically for being his project, so I'll just follow his instructions for sure.
Yeah, so the owner of the projectile is going to be the turret. So if we drag in the turret game object, like Andre's doing now,
so
if we
this
grab
one
that,
on top, right? Like the top, okay.
The root object and drag it all the way over, and then release on the owner field there, yep. And now it's set the turret to be the owner. And if we just keep going, we now want the projectile prefab. So that's going to be the projectile we spawn in every time we click the mouse button. And I've already pre-made that. So we're going to go find it in our assets.
Okay, so that's a good way now because, like I said, we can basically use this, right? The little circle icon to go to our assets folder, right?
Yep, and then you can see all the prefabs there. And there's one that looks just right for what this is.
Yeah. And of course, you can change the preview here in this little slider. So you can get an organized here, or you can see a little preview of what it looks like. And I can see here the turret projectile. I'm just going to select that, double click so it selects and then closes automatically. And then we also have this other one, which is spawn point, which super handy. We already made that, right? That's going to be the spatial point where the prefab is going to be instantiated. So let's just drag the new object that we just made and put it here on spawn point. But there's still one more variable here. And I'm assuming this is just the speed at which this projectile is going to be launched.
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay, so what exactly do we want to set here in this parameter?
So I use a value of 20. I think that works fine. As I said, with any of these numbers you're setting, feel free to change it to whatever you want for your project. But if you want to follow along, use a value of 20.
Yeah, so the one thing you'll notice is that this particular field has 3 numbers. And the reason is that we need to set a velocity to which direction we want the turret to move. And one thing that's important to know is if you go to the awesome spawn point we created and you see the little arrows, right? You'll see that the blue arrow represents the z-axis. So we want the turret to go through that direction. And so if we go back to the barrel where we are setting our parameters, you can see that we can set here on the z, right? How much do we want it to go to the z? And that's why we're just using this, we're just filling in this number. Of course, if we wanted to make it go a little bit to the right or up and down, we would fill up the other ones. All right, so What's next? Oh, I hear Elena coming up.
All right, we actually have some questions, you guys, and one quick announcement that I wanted to make. So actually, Yuan, thank you so much for pointing this out, because I'm seeing that a whole bunch of folks are actually sharing their content right now on Twitter. However, they're posting their personal content, personal projects. So if you guys are posting that with us, just please consider joining us and, actually taking part in the Dappers project, because those are the entries that we're considering for the giveaway. So if you could, let us know what you're doing currently with us, that would be fantastic. And the next question was, are physics and gravity already enabled here?
Yep, so on the projectile that I've made that this is going to be spawning in, it has a rigid body component, and that handles gravity and making it fall down when it fires off.
Yeah. Don't worry, if you guys want us to dive deeper into that, we can definitely do that. But yeah, thank you, Elena. And sure, yeah, people, please make sure to download this project. And if there's any issue with the projects, we're more than happy to just like look around, reply, or whatnot. So yeah, back to it again. So we're adding the velocity. So are we, what's the next step? Are we ready, or do we need to link this together to something?
So there's one final step, and this script right now, this component, just handles firing off a projectile, but it doesn't know when to fire it off. So we need to give it some input. We need to say when they press the mouse button to click, to fire, spawn the projectile in. So we're going to go do that now.
Okay, cool. So where do we do that exactly in your hierarchy here?
Okay, so for this project, it's best to add it to the turret base. So the game object just above that. Yep. We're going to add a component for input called player input.
Player input. And yeah, cool. I can see it right here. I'm going to click it.
Now for this project, I've already set up all the input. So I've said fire is left click, and later on, rotate is moving the mouse. But if you guys closer to the end of the stream want to change those bindings to something else, we'll cover that. But for now, we're just going to continue how it is. So we want to select the asset. So we can do the little circle dot method.
Circle dot here, and I can already see the controls action asset that you prepared. So
that's right here. The controls I've set up. Yeah.
So before we move on, I just see here one question asking, what does making an object a child of another exactly? So I'll just go ahead and do a little bit of that just really quick. I'll just create another cube so we can explain this. So let's say we have two cubes in the scene, right? And the thing about, so these cubes are independent. They have no parents. But if you make and you click and drag into a cube and drag it inside the other cube, it is a child of that first cube. And what that means is whenever I move the parent object, it will move the child accordingly and also rotate, as you can see here, right? But if you select the child and just move it around, it'll move independently because it's just a child. It's not setting the information of anyone, but the parent object is the actual object that sets this. And you can see this in the structure here that Nathan has prepared, which basically the barrel, what we want is the barrel, we still want the barrel to rotate at some point, which we're going to go there in soon enough. But then we want it to be independent, but whenever we move the base, right, we want the whole thing to move, not only just the base. We want the barrel, we want everything. We want our spawn point to also change. Anyways, let's go back to adding our inputs. So yeah, I added here the input action asset. So what's left here to add more, add the specific behavior to link it to the thing.
So there's a lot of things here we don't need to set. We're just going to change the minimal stuff that we need. So the thing that says behavior, there's a little drop down box. So by default, it's on send messages. We're going to use Unity events. Now, we're not going to get into that right now. We'll just keep it quite simple, though. If we change to it, there's a little drop down appears. Okay,
like events, I'm going to click it.
Then just below that, there's also another drop down
for player.
And that's all the player input I set up. So you'll see we have aim, fire, and move. And by pressing the little plus icon, you can actually tell Unity to do something. Oops.
Sorry about that.
You can tell Unity to do something when that input happens. So we're going to go for firing right now. So if Andrew presses the plus, what does he want to do when fire is pressed? We want to make that launch projectile component do its job. So we need to drag that in.
So it's going to zoom out so we can drag it in here. Sorry about that. Let me go back.
So the component is on the barrel, so he needs to drag in the barrel. You actually just close the the drop downs. Just
Oh
open
yeah, I
them up
closed
real
the drop
quick.
down. Sorry. Let's open it back up. And this is
Okay.
like an event. And like Nathan just said, we just need to drag his component here and select what do we want the component, what do we want it to do, right? So I'm just gonna drag the turbo barrel, because I know the component we added was there, into this little field. And now it enabled this other drop down, which we can select the function, right? The behavior of the component. And if we click on this, you'll see that we have all the components that are part of this object, right? And one of the components is launch projectile, which is the one we added. And here are a lot of functions that already are present there. Don't worry about those. We're worrying now about these dynamic callbacks, which is the scripts or the functions that Nathan has prepared, which in this specific case is launch, right? And so we just click that, and now basically what's going to happen is, hey, when we press fire, which is in this case the left click of the mouse, you're going to find this component on the turbo barrel, and you're going to do this specific behavior, which is the launch behavior that's prepared. So are we good to go?
I think we're good to go.
Okay, cool. So challenge number 1 was to make this turret fire. Let's see if we if we manage to actually do that. So we have the game here. I'm just gonna press left click. Oops, sorry about that. For some reason.
All right, Andre, your skills are now, we have to.
I'd say leave the prefab view, that might be causing the problem.
Oh yeah, okay, cool. Sorry about that. Let's leave the prefab view just to make sure.
And as you guys are watching, look, now you have 2 guys that have been playing with Unity for so long, and we still run into things. So this just goes to show you that, every day is a new learning experience. You learn every time you open the editor. Every time you do something, you learn something, you break something. So don't ever be worried or scared away by that.
Just reopen the scene. Go to challenge 2 and back or something.
Yeah, there you go.
And save. Make sure to save.
Should I save? Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Okay, let's hope this fixes it, because this never happened in rehearsal, as things always go wrong live. Andre, what's messed up with your mouse cursor?
That's a good question. For some reason, I don't know if you guys can see in my stream, we're just like going left. But
maybe you want to quickly change the input to be spacebar, perhaps, and then if the mouse is just going wrong. So this is a good time to actually show the input. So in the project, Andre's jumped over to the the input folder, and if he double clicks on it or presses the edit button, it works both ways.
Yeah, edit asset. I can see here all the, you've prepared a set of handy tools. Let's just change this fire one, like you said, to a spacebar. So how do we do that?
Yep, so under fire, there's the input left mouse button. And if we click on the path on the right and just type space, when you click on that, type space, and it'll say space keyboard, and then save the asset. So there's a little save button.
There you go.
And now try again and hope for the best.
Let's hope for the best. I think also because I was using the magnifier to zoom in, maybe that was moving the mouse. But yeah, there you go.
There we go. Okay.
I feel like we should do some sort of a, victory or, celebratory song here that this happened. We fixed it, guys. We fixed it live.
It so fast live. that kind of like no one's prepared for that kind of thing. And
just press the next level button, and then it'll actually take us automatically to challenge 2.
Exactly. If you press next level, right there you go. You can see that we already on challenge 2 on the little pop-up that we docked. Now we have the second challenge, which is to make the cannon aim. But before we move into that, I think, Elena, do we have someone moving in the community and doing cool stuff?
Guys, I'm sorry. Andre, I think I may be speaking over you because there was a bit of latency. I'll try to hold my horses a little bit because I'm so excited. We actually had some awesome submissions, and Rahid Punjabi is going to be the first person to receive a gift card from Unity, a $75 gift card to the Unity Gear Shop. Rahid, please keep an eye on your DM after this live stream, and that's where you'll find a gift card to the Unity shop.
That's
so
awesome.
Congratulations, and thank you so much for sharing what you're working on with us right now. Not on 1, but on 2 computers, guys. He's absolutely killing it.
Oh my God. Machine. We got a machine over here.
Machine, exactly.
So, thank you so much, of course. Thank you for joining. And I think this is like I said at the beginning of the stream, is really important to see you guys participating, because the only reason why we're doing this is because we want everyone to be able to feel comfortable, right, within Unity. And thank you for participating. And we still have more, right, Elena? So let's keep it going. Let's keep it going. Why not?
That's right. We have more gift cards, guys. Don't forget to share with us what you're doing, or even share this live stream with your friends. Let them know this is happening so they can also hop on and build some really cool stuff with us. So yeah.
Cool. Awesome. Okay. So let's move to step 2. So let me read here. Challenge number 2, cannon aiming, part 1. For this challenge, you will learn how to make your mouse control the pitch of the cannon. The pitch of the cannon? That's a really interesting way of putting it, Nathan.
No,
Maybe
those are proper terms, pitch, yaw, and roll. But that's
fine.
the x-axis, yeah.
Cool. Okay, so let's do that. So why don't we go ahead and, just start
jump
going
into
through
this
the
one.
same. Yeah, jump into this one, like trying to like use the same logic with the same wording so people can connect the first to the second one.
Yep, so since we've set up the first challenge, we've got the input there. We've taught you about game objects and what components are. These challenges will get faster and faster. You'll get more familiar with it all. So this tutorial is going to be pretty much the same as the first. We're going to add a component, set some values for the rotation of the barrel, and then we'll try feeding some input in there and seeing if it works.
Okay,
so
should we go
prefab.
to isolated mode again?
Yep, let's do that.
Okay, cool. So I'm just going to do that again. Isolated, we have the prefab here with us, and let's go ahead and add that little rotation. So should we go to the barrel, I'm assuming?
Yeah, we need to rotate the barrel's x-axis. So let's just visualize it first by actually rotating the x-axis.
So the x should be this one.
Yeah. If we look at the transforms x at the top right, you can see that's what's changing. So that's what we need to change with a component. So if we just put that back.
Yep.
Okay, let's add a component for that.
So here with the little add component button, we're going to add the, what's
I
this
conveniently named it the rotate object component.
Convenient.
Yep.
Yeah, rotate object.
All right, let's set it up.
Okay, so we have some fields here that I can see, and we have speed, x-axis, y-axis. So this challenge is for the x-axis. So I'm assuming that we need to disable the y. Is that correct?
Yeah. For this object, we just want to rotate the x. And the speed, I went with 5, but last time we tested this on your PC, you went with 1, I think, was it?
Okay.
Because 5 was a bit fast for your thing. Go for 1.
2.
2. Let's go for 2. Okay.
Okay.
And now we've got a component to rotate this object on the x-axis. But the problem is, just like with the shooting, we need to feed some input into it. So I'm gonna let Andre do that on his own. I think he can do that now.
I think I can. I think I can handle that. Hopefully, fingers crossed. Please, everyone, fingers crossed. No, anyways. Let's think it about the same way that we just did. We created a component on the barrel, but we still need to go back to the base where we are sending the input data, right? And to connect those two things. So let's go to the third base. And then we have here on the actions, on our drop down of events, drop down of player. Now we have more actions, of course, rather than just fire. We have move and we have aim. So I'm assuming we're going to use the aim input here, right?
That is correct. Yeah.
Cool. So in the aim callback context, we're going to add another event. This event again is going to ask, okay, which component am I actually going to send behavior to? And of course, I'm going to drag the turret barrel because we know that the component of rotate is placed there. And then we have here the behaviors. Let's go to the rotate object component, and then we have our own our own custom function that's called rotate. And hopefully that's it, I think.
Yeah, if we head back to the editor, I usually just do that. It's up to you, really.
Let's go up.
And then, yeah.
Oh yeah, of course. Why don't we just go? And it's very important to say that the only way you can, not the only, sorry, but the way you preview your game is by pressing the play button right here on the top. And this will allow you to start your game simulation. And that's why it changes to the game view. And now you can see that if I move my mouse, I have on the x-axis, I have rotation of my, oh, I forgot I need to press space now. Space to shoot. Look at that. I'm not too bad. Wait.
Yes, you are.
Andre and Dapper, actually, we have a few people that are joining us right now. And if you guys are just coming in and you're feeling like you're a little bit behind, it is no worry whatsoever, because the description of the video has all the information that you need to get started. You can actually watch right now, and then, you can rewatch the video when it's posted after the live stream is over, and you can follow along with the project if you feel a little intimidated and you feel like you missed out on the first challenge. So yeah, today we have our guest Dapper from Dapper Dino, who actually made this project. And he's walking us through and showing you guys how to actually make something of your own. And simultaneously, he's teaching the building blocks of Unity. Just wanted to pop in because I'm seeing a lot of people saying, hey, I just joined. What's going on here? So everybody, welcome. And thank you so much for being with us.
Yeah. I mean, we're going to hear over the fundamentals, but I feel like this project, Nathan did such a good job at building these custom pop-ups and instructions that please don't worry too much. Like, you can rewatch this again. You can ask us questions in the chat. Just all we want is that you start trying, and we're here to help. We're in it together. But yeah, I was able to surprisingly do this really quick, apparently. So why don't we jump up to the other challenge?
Yeah, I'm sure you can do this one just as quick.
Okay. So challenge number 3, as you can see here in the pop-up I docked, is the aiming part 2. And this, we need to make the mouse control, I love these terms, the yaw of the cannon. So I think I can do this, but the only difference now, I think, is that we want to rotate the actual base now, right? Is that correct?
That is correct, yeah.
Okay, so I guess following the same instructions, we go here in the turret game object, and on the base,
let's open it up as a prefab, remember?
Oh yeah, that's the best way to do it, of course. Let's open it up. And then if we go here on the base, remember that we added a bunch of components, launch and rotate in the barrel. Now let's add one to the base. So if we go here into add component and add the rotate object, you can see here that we have the same component, but in this case, now it's in the base. And since the challenge is to put it on the y-axis, let's tick off here the x-axis and put it to a speed like 2, just the same as we did before.
Let's try visualizing it first as well, rotating the turret base.
So to the other one, the barrel, we rotated on the X. What we're doing now is that we want it to rotate on the Y, right? And so this is what we want our behavior to be making. So of course we added the component, but we still need to send the data of like when I'm actually moving. And if we go here to the player input and go to the drop down, go to the player drop down, and you can see that we can add more than one event on the aim. So we have the first one that is rotating the barrel. We want to add the second one that will rotate the barrel. Sorry, the base. The base. Which is the barrel? Which is the base? So anyways, we just need to drag the base again to this little field here and select our own component, which is rotate object, and select the rotate function, which is the custom behavior that Nathan has prepared. And so I feel like that should work, of course. Like,
you're getting too good at this now.
But
maybe not the aiming part, but
maybe not aiming, but yeah, the building is getting faster. But of course, if we're going fast, let us know in chat. We can even slow a little bit down just to answer questions. But
yeah, and we can revisit the previous challenges if people have got stuck.
As you can see here, I now am able to rotate on the y-axis, but it's rotating the base while the actual, whoa, I did a flip there, huh? There you go. While the barrel itself rotates in this axis. So now I'm able to shoot in different directions, and that's why we can complete this challenge, because now we have something on the left and the right. We of course want to be able to look at that, and I forget that I hit space and just shoot at that. There you go, 1, 2, 3, and then there you go. Perfect. Cool. And that's challenge number 3. And as you can see, once we get that notion out of the way, right? Sorry, not that notion, but like we get that complexity of game objects and components, things get much faster. But before we go into challenge number 4, which is let's go to challenge number 4, because I remember challenge number 4 is just a target practice. So you can all see how terrible I am at this game. But I'll just
I designed this specifically for Andre.
Yes, but I'll just take this moment so that Nathan, please, I'm very curious, and I think that people really should know, like, I'm interested in your story as a creator here in YouTube, and just what, like, how do you start with Unity, and, just share how has it been going with the channel, and, all that kind of jazz, while I target practice, of course.
Okay, so it was about 2 years ago. No, I'm not going to make it sound like my life story. I originally started wanting to make games, as most people here, pretty much everyone here probably wanted to start doing. And after doing a lot of Googling, I found out about Unity and found some tutorials. I stuck at it for quite a while, and then I made my own YouTube channel showing some of the stuff I've been making. And then people asked me in the comments to make my own tutorials, and I considered it. And then I started doing that, and I've stuck with it for about 2 years now, and here we are.
There you go. Cool. And what is it that you cover in the channel? Do you cover just beginner stuff, or do you have things for people that
Sorry,
like...
you cut out on Discord there a little bit.
Oh, I could. Sorry. I'll repeat. What is it that you have in your channel? Like, is it more beginner content, or is it like, do you have a mix of types of different types of content?
Yeah, so over time there has been some varied content, but it's primarily been Unity and it's primarily been coding. Recently, I've been doing more beginner stuff. If you look at my older videos, it's a lot more intermediate to advanced stuff. And now I try and have a good spread over the different skill levels.
Cool. Yeah, good question, Lena. Can everyone hear me? Hopefully everyone can hear me.
I think it was a Discord problem.
Maybe it was.
We had that the other day.
And I just saw in the chat that someone wants the link for Unity's Discord. Hopefully some moderators. Yeah, if you can hook those up, that would be super nice. We have a very active community. Guys, go ahead.
Speaking of hooking up, can we answer some questions here? Because our chat has questions for you guys. So Nathan, we have viewers that are wondering whether or not that effect that we see on when the cannon is fired, is that particle system, or did you do some other Unity magic there?
So the projectile trail, that is using a component built into Unity called the trail renderer. We can actually go look at the prefab real quick for that.
Yeah, there you go. Let's go to the prefab scene. Oh, sorry. Window.
Yeah. And let's open up the projectile. And if Andre goes and presses W for the move tool and just moves it around a bit. Oh, no, the trail apparently doesn't happen like this.
Is it? No, sorry. I was.
Oh, you were moving the wrong thing. Yeah, yep. Okay. Yep, so this is the trail. It looks a bit weird when you're not actually playing the game because the game is kind of paused right now. The time isn't passing properly, so the trail doesn't clear up. But yeah, it's a little trail I made. If he clicks on, actually, no, if he just scrolls down, yeah, there's the trail renderer.
Yeah, this is one component that is pre-made, or it's already there with Unity, and you can simply add it to an object, and you'll see multiple settings that are yeah, how do you say this? They're interactive enough that you can change things. So I can change the trail, the shape of how everything looks, the color. So I might just change the color just for funsies. I have some fun colors here.
Because of the material.
Okay.
Yeah. So if you go find that material, you can edit that.
Let me just change. Why don't I just change the material? So it's the default line. And there you go. You can see the color of this. I'm just going to set
you might as well leave it like that for the rest of the...
Do you want to? Sure.
Why not?
Okay.
I mean, it's up to you.
Let me just set back the default material. And, sorry. Go to the component.
And this is, guys, where we go rogue because you asked us to.
I mean, it's your fault. Could you imagine? No, it's fine. Okay, so we have this one. But of course, we can,
make your own gradients if you want.
Yeah. It's very intuitive. You can, change colors. Like make a little rainbow.
Should we ask our community which color we should go with?
I mean, sure.
Just a mix of all of them.
I say we should go for a rainbow.
Yeah, I mean, that sounds like the most fun option. Let's see how it looks at least before we actually do. So it blends together, so it looks really nice. It blends everything together because of this gradient. So why don't we go ahead and just preview it now? This is the next challenge. So
you can just go ahead and try it in challenge 5 if you want. I mean you're not going to be able to complete it right now.
Exactly, that's true. Okay, so I see a lot of people, at least a lot of people agree with this, the rainbow idea, so that's fun. There you go. You can see a little...
It's hard to see with the background, I guess. You can go change the background color if you'd like.
I mean, let's do that as well. So in the game view is where we actually see the thing, right? But how do you set up the specific window?
So if I was you, I'd go over to the challenge base and just open that window up. So you see it in the hierarchy?
Challenge base.
Let's just do it in here. So if we go to the camera, the camera has a background color. You can see.
I can see it right here. Yeah, like a purple.
So if we change that to be whatever you like.
Okay, chat. I'm not really good at making decisions. So, what color? What color should the background of this game should be?
I'm
Please.
too lazy to make a decision.
Come on. I'm not
So
lazy.
for the trail, we had some votes for rainbow, but I also saw some votes for light red. Should that, although our cannon is kind of reddish.
Light
I mean,
red.
the people on Twitter can choose whatever colors they like for sharing it, to add some variety.
That's true.
And you guys at home, when you're modifying this, you can go whichever direction you want.
Yeah, I saw someone coming gold. Maybe I'll try that, but like I think that maybe in order for the trail to show up a little bit better, maybe we just do a really light yellow sort of. Let's see how it looks at least.
Now, just one thing to mention. So this, right-click on the background, the word background, because this has been changed. If you want it to be changed in all scenes, put as override to level base. Yeah, no, level base will make it for all levels. Yeah, do the second option.
The second one.
Yeah.
Okay.
So now if you go to all the other ones, the background will be changed as
Let's
well.
check. So scene 1. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then open a game
Yep.
view. Yeah.
So let's go back to scene 5, and now we have like a yellowy background. It's now even harder to see.
Good job.
Yeah, we should just do a gray. Let's just do a gray. Be nice to Andre, Nathan. He's doing see, the chat agrees that you should.
We actually have a lot of votes for black, guys. Can we see what happens if we just make it pretty dark?
Like this, maybe. Okay. Yeah. Sure. That looks nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
That looks pretty good.
You
Yeah.
remember to press play.
Apply it if you want it to be the same for all levels.
There you go. That
That's
looks
easier
good.
to see. Yeah.
That's much
So now you've
better.
got your.
Oh,
I actually like it.
there you go.
All right,
That's
Andre.
the
Now you
reason.
just have to practice on those shooting skills.
No, but that's the reason why this is the challenge, right? That we didn't even read. So let's take the time to just read that. But before that, I mean, explain a little bit of what you've done here and why do we need to dodge. While I kind of look on Twitter here to see if I find another winner here for our prizes and our gift cards.
Yep. So while building this project, I had a suggestion to create deflectors for the enemies to make it a little bit more challenging. And then once I made the deflectors, I then realized that's perfect for a challenge because the player now needs to move.
Cool. I mean, yeah. I still
So
need
we can.
Go ahead.
Yep.
Sorry. Go ahead.
I think so. Now we can actually use the input to drive the cannon moving left and right to dodge.
Cool. Yeah. I mean, I still need a little bit more time because I'm looking so many people sending cool stuff. But let's just start trying to do this while we look into some cool things. So we need to make let me just collapse this. Now we need to make. Now what do we want to move? Do we
Let's
want
go
to
back into the prefab.
Yeah. That's exactly good idea. Let's go.
Got to
open
keep
the-
reminding you.
Gotta open the
Makes our lives
isolated
a lot
mode.
easier. Yeah.
And what is it that we want to move? Do we want to move the base or do we want to move the root object?
We actually want to remove the root object for this.
Okay, cool. And so I'm assuming that in this root, we see no components but the transform, and then we're going to add in a component with the behavior that you prepared, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I've written a component that will move the transform of this object, and it's called turret movement. I've made this very
There
simple
you go.
to follow along with.
I just
Yep.
typed move and it found it, so that's pretty cool. So I'm just
Yep.
going to add move here, and there's already
I've already set this one up apparently. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, there's already preset things, so no worries about that. And I'm actually going to keep those values, and then I'm just going to go out of this prefab mode here on this.
And
like,
you
little
won't be able to
forward.
win right now.
And I won't be able to win. What do you mean?
How is the movement going to happen?
Oh, that's true.
Aha.
There you
Tricky,
go.
tricky.
See, there you go. So yeah, we need to hook those up to inputs. So go ahead.
Andre,
Elena.
you gave me a perfect getaway. You said, hook this up, guys. I feel like we need to hook up the next person with a gift card because I am seeing some really awesome entries.
Yeah, I mean,
Shall we?
yeah, sure. I kind of want to see on Twitter what people are doing.
Yeah, guys, hashtag creator stream. And if you are joining us and you're participating using Dapper's project, go ahead and send us a screenshot or a GIF, and you will be entered to win. We still have a few gift cards.
Cool.
And Dapper,
Go ahead.
are you guys, do you want to pick the winners too? Because I feel like you should see some of the really cool stuff that is being submitted out there by everybody who is watching.
Yeah, I'm opening Twitter now on my phone to have a look through.
I see
Nice.
some stuff already, and I think I really want to pick. I don't know how to say this. This user hashtag is gcoinsfield, something like that. I like the setup with the multiple screens because basically the stream is in one side and Unity's in the other side. So that's pretty cool. And he even changed. Not he was like sorry. They changed the green background. Sorry, the background to be green. So that's pretty cool. I am just gonna make sure we remember. And please, you're the winner.
So that is Gabriel
Congratulations.
Koningsfield, if we are not completely butchering your name.
Exactly.
Gabriel, congratulations on being our second winner of a $75 gift card to Unity's Gear Shop. So keep an eye out on your direct messages on Twitter, and we'll reach out to you with the code. Congratulations. And guys, if you're still here, still participating, watching, let us know. Tweet at us, tag Unity, tag Nathan. It's at DapperDino4 and Andre at Andre_MC, and myself if you guys want to, Elena Unity 3D. Of course, Unity, just let us know you're working on it. We're so excited to see so many of you here with us today. And thank you so much for your time. And hopefully you could be the next lucky winner.
Thank you so much, Lena. I stumbled so much with my words because I was looking at Twitter and doing this at the same time. So thank you. And
oh man, I'm starting to see some awesome gifts too, guys. I have to close it for a second because I'm gonna get distracted.
Exactly. I was like kind of almost browsing Twitter normally. But I also want to shout out Dan Miller is in the chat. Dan Miller is one of our other evangelists, which is very he's specializes in XR and VR. So I don't know if you have any questions about that. Just go ahead. You can feel free to ask Dan. And thank you so much, Dan, for being here.
Yeah,
okay.
Thanks, Dan.
So let's try to forget Twitter for a second, and let's think about, we added the movement component, but we still need to hook that up to the input. And if we all remember, the input component is on the turret base. And so again, let me zoom in here so we can see this clearly. I
think now is a good time to explain if you do make changes and you're not in the prefab view, how to actually apply those to the prefab.
That's true. So let's make the change here. First, let's focus on that. So I see here you have an event just for move, and we're going to do the same thing we did. Add another one to the list. Then we need to drag the actual object where the component that we want to modify is. So let me drag the turret root object, and we're going to select a behavior. Here in the turret movement, you can see the move input, which is the behavior that Nathan has prepared.
Andrew, do you want to swap your camera to the left side just in case you're covering something?
That's true. Swapped. Okay. Sorry about that. I'm just gonna go ahead again and just make sure that everyone saw that. So here we dragged the turret game object and selected the behavior that we wanted in the turret movement component. So that's move input. And okay, so this is a change we made in the prefab, but like Nathan said, since we didn't do this in the isolated mode, we want to make sure that this is saved because this is the same prefab that we're using for all the scenes, right? All the scenes you can see here on the bottom. So in order to do that, we just, there's plenty of ways to do that, but the way I like to do it is I like to go to the base prefab, and you can see here, remember the little button that we pressed to open prefab? We also have a little drop down here that says overrides. Basically tells us what has changed in this prefab. So it basically is like warning us, hey, you changed this on this specific instance of a prefab. Do you want to change it for everyone? And in this case, we do. So we just press apply all, and hopefully that should work. So if we play here, there you go. And now I can move with my keyboard. I can move left and right with my turret. And that's going to allow us to complete the challenge because these buddies over here, they deflect your bullets. And then you have to kind of like avoid it if I even hit them. Come on. Whoop. There you go. Oh my God.
I do like that color we picked, guys.
That's very nice. Go ahead.
Thanks for the suggestions, chat. Definitely the dark background is super duper awesome. I guess everyone likes the dark theme, eh?
Actually managed to die.
I'm so sorry.
See, we need someone watching who can do some programming to make a death system that counts how many times you died.
I mean, that would be pretty cool. Like one thing that if you feel adventurous, please feel free to like open the actual components that Nathan has prepared. And if you want to give it a shout out to like, no, sorry, not shout, but like a try to code, why not? You can literally do a, what?
Yeah, you're limited to how far
You gotta
left.
go right.
That's true.
You can't cheat by hiding off the side of the screen.
I'm being a passenger seat driver. Is that what a backseat driver? Is that what the saying is?
Backseat gamer. Backseat gamer.
Backseat,
Yeah.
exactly. Backseat gamer.
That's what we need right now.
There you go.
Okay.
Hey, you did it.
Well done. And this was the last challenge, right?
Yep. It's now really up to the people watching to make their own levels if they want to. Oh, let's actually add the sound effects now.
Oh yeah, cool. Yeah, let's do that.
Oh yeah, I feel like weren't we talking about adding the pew 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 sound when the turrets are shooting?
Let's do
You
that.
can. People could record their own sounds and drag those
Yeah.
in Unity if they want.
Yeah. I can assume here that like you have your own audio here in the project window. You have your own audio files. We can actually preview those. Hit, I feel like that's already there, right? The one we want to add is a projectile. So let's. I don't know if everyone can hear that.
I think I'm the only one who can't hear it through Discord, so it's fine if it works for you guys.
Yeah, I think it's on the stream. It's going, but here's where we can preview the audio. And then what we want to do is every time we shoot, right? Let's think about it. Let's deconstruct this. So every time there's an input, right? The action, we want to access a component that's going to play our sound, right? And of course, Unity already has a component for audio. So let me open here our turret in prefab mode. And where do you want to add this sound component? Where do you feel like it's the best? Should it be in the base? Should it be in the root object?
It makes most sense to put it on the root object because if the player dies, all the other stuff beneath it, all the children get turned off, get disabled.
Mm-hmm.
And so if the audio source is there, the sound just stops. So you can't play hit sound effects and death sound effects. We want it to be on here.
That makes true.
Yeah.
That makes sense. That
It
makes
makes
true. That makes true. That makes very true.
I think you're speaking in C# right now.
Exactly, like my mind is not properly working. So here you can see that of course we're going to add a component, and the one component I mentioned that is pre-made in Unity, as you can see here, one of the options is audio, and what we want to use is an audio source, so a place where the audio is going to come off from. So you can see that there's some options here already kind of like selected and set it. I'm just going to take off play on awake. What this means is that it's going to play a sound immediately on play mode. And I'm just going to raise the volume because I know this can get really annoying really quick if it's too loud. But here's the thing. The audio source doesn't have an audio clip. And we want to add that audio clip to the audio source. So I'm just going to get the fire projectile here. And it's going to drag it to this little field.
Do you want to do this, remember? Should
Sorry?
we do it the way we did it earlier? So the problem with the way Andre's done this now is we've now limited this audio source to only playing this one clip. But the player needs shooting sound effects.
That's
It
true.
needs sound effects for taking damage. And, in your case, maybe even more things. So we're actually going to clear that out, set that back to none.
Yeah, let me just set that back to none.
Yep. And what we can do is we can use the events we were using earlier where we do input to actually also play audio clips. So let's go to the turret base.
That's true. I mean, that's true because we can keep the audio source kind of like generic. So it can get any sound. So we can basically use the behavior of the event to attribute, to change this little field you see here. So we can change it dynamically. So let's go, I think that's probably for the best. Let's go back to the events on the turret base game object. And as you can see here, we have the fire one, right? Which is the one we want to add the actual sound. It's going to add a new event. I'm going to drag the object where the component of audio source is, and then I'm going to select a behavior. As you can see here on the component, we have audio source, and there's so many things here, but the one we're looking for is it play one shot?
It is play one shot. Yeah,
exactly. Because if you do play, it's just gonna play the
one you set.
Exactly, the audio clip that I set. So the way I was doing it before, you could probably just use play. But since we want to determine specifically what audio clip that we want in this event, we do play one shot. And you can see here, we have a field. Let me just zoom in here. You have a field here that asks you to input a audio clip. And now I can drag the fire projectile sound. What this means is that if we want to add other sounds to any other events, we can use the same audio source, but then in this specific part here, we can change what audio clip that we play.
Let's do that right now. If we go to the health behavior on that same game object, scroll up.
Sorry, yeah, the health behavior. Oh, here you have an event on take damage. Yeah, sure, let's do that. That's a good idea. So add a new thing here, and then we find the object where the audio source is. Look for the audio source component. Let's do play one shot again. And now we have a clip that we have to input. And now we have hit here. So let's drag hit, which, did I preview it? Wait. Boom. It's like, yeah, it's very low volume, but.
I'm not an audio engineer, don't worry, guys.
No worries. Yeah, cool.
These are very simple sound effects.
Yeah.
Guys, speaking of the audio, I think Chad is telling us that, Andre, that your microphone is a bit low. Could you bump it up a little bit for the stream?
Hello, everyone. Yeah, sure.
All right, let's see if that's better.
Please, yeah, please.
Thank you guys for letting us know.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, thank you. That's true. Probably just because the microphone was like slowly going down and down and down, and I didn't notice. But yeah, now we should have sound to our project. Let's leave isolated mode, and while I play, let us know if you can hear the sound. But I'll also take a chance to just read some of the comments for sure. I always forget that I set it to space bar.
Yeah, it must be some stream problem or magnifying tool problem. Are the sound effects working?
Yeah.
Because as I said, I'm the one person here who can't hear them.
Yeah, you're the only one.
But it's fine. If it's working for everyone watching, I'm happy.
That's true. Pew pew. Cool. I don't want to get hit, but we might just. Oh, actually,
You can't get hit
I can't
anymore.
be hit anymore.
You can shoot yourself if you aim down, like straight down.
That's true. I can do it. Wait, but
You
I
can shoot
think
yourself.
the volume is so low.
It's not a bug, it's a feature on purpose.
It's a feature. Okay, let's take some time to answer. Do you see any interesting questions here that might be cool here to answer?
Guys, we have actually a lot of people that are really interested in C#. Dapper, I don't know if it's because people actually spied over your channel and they see that you are a C# pro, but we have a lot of people asking about code. I see lines of codes floating. So maybe you guys, could you dig in some of the code that you wrote for this project? I know that everybody will be able to access it, but maybe you could give us a bit of I guess, an idea of how you wrote it and in a lot of ways made it accessible for somebody who is just starting, right?
I think we'll stick to like one script just to keep it quite simple for this.
Sure.
Okay, so if we open up the scripts folder, Andrea can go find that in the folder thing. I'm just gonna think, which script do we want to look into to keep this really simple? Let's go for the firing one, the launch projectile, because that's the first one we used. Yep,
Yeah.
There we go.
So it's gonna open my code editor that opened in another window. So I'll just drag it over once it loads up. Okay.
Yep, so this is quite a small one for doing this. Should we go just through each line pretty much?
I mean, go ahead.
We'll keep it quite basic for this. So if you remember when we used this component earlier, there were 4 separate things Andre could set in the inspector, and there they are, the things he's highlighted. So we can set these 2 game objects, that transform component, and then the vector 3 for the velocity that we used on the z-axis. Now, we have this one function called launch, and this is the thing we actually selected if you want to go back and remind people.
Yeah, sure. On the turret base, on the event.
Input, yeah.
Yeah, you
Go
can
down.
see here.
So we grabbed the launch projectile component and did .launch. So we called the launch method.
Yeah.
Yep. And then if we go back to the code now, it passes in this callback context, which tells us what happened with that button. So for launch, we're using spacebar. So this is actually called, I think, every time we press spacebar, release spacebar, and so on. But we only care when it's pressed. So we say, if they didn't perform, and to perform the launch, it means pressing, so not releasing. If they press the button, then we'll continue running the code. If they didn't press it, we return, and all return means is like, stop here, don't run anymore, okay? And then what we do is we do what's called instantiating. So we spawn in the projectile prefab. So you see, I'm telling it, this is what I want to spawn in. And then we want to spawn it at the position of the spawn point with the rotation of the spawn point. And that's the empty game object Andre created earlier on in the stream. So it goes and grabs that position and grabs that rotation and puts our projectile at that spot, aiming in that direction. So we're ready to go. We're ready to launch it at that point. And then the thing is, in your code, you sometimes need to go and grab certain components off game objects. So what we do is we say, try and get me the rigid body component, which we haven't actually explained that yet. But all it does for now, the basic explanation, is it gives something access to physics. So it allows it to fall due to gravity, and you can add force and launch it off in a direction, which is what we want. And we say, if the projectile has a rigid body component, then set its velocity. That's effectively what we're doing here, without going into too much detail. And then we also say, if it has the belongs to component, then set the person it belongs to be the owner. The reason why we do that is so that for the deflector level, when the deflectors fire the objects back at the player, they need to know as the deflector, like who does this projectile belong to, so it can fire it back at them, basically.
Yeah. And this is a very organized code, so don't worry about getting to this point when you start, right? Like you can do several different things to approach, and we have a lot of material in our YouTube channel and our official websites and whatnot. Also our Learn page, right? To get started with code. So don't worry about the structure too much. This is kind of like Nathan's diary. This is how he thinks. This is his mind, basically. So
keep in mind, there's never one solution to a problem. There's many. So this is what I found was simple enough and quick enough to work for this project. Though, if I made 10 different games, all with ways to launch projectiles, the code would probably be different in each one. It just really is what suits the game.
That's true. That's true. But going back to the project really quick, one thing that Nathan has prepared is a template scene. And I'm just going to save scenes 5 here. Yeah. And the template scene, as you can see, is just a scene without any enemies or anything. So please feel free, if you download this project, please feel free to make a lot of levels and share even more with us on Twitter, on the stuff that you're actually modifying. But yeah.
Should we create a quick template, a quick scene?
So let's do this. While I create, why don't you look on Twitter to see if you find one creation or someone that's interacting that you like.
I'll go have a look. Just remember to duplicate the template scene first, so that when you want to make another level, you can then duplicate it again. So it's go for that one, because that's called template scene 1. So call that whatever you want your level to be called.
Whatever you want.
We could be, I don't know if there's a limit to the length of a scene name, but it's up to you if you want to push those limits.
Whatever you want.
And Andre already knows if he can remember how to kind of build a scene like this. So feel free to go ahead while I look on Twitter for a bit.
Yes, please. I'm just gonna drag some prefabs here because I know Nathan has separate everything in prefabs. So I'm just
remember they have to be a child of the thing in level base.
Yeah. So I'm just gonna position those here somewhere easy enough, I guess. I can always see how it looks in game view.
Andre, and we also have a question coming in. So while you're messing with that, the far side of the sea is asking whether or not it's possible to change the trail length, and if so, how? And I'm assuming that's the trail length of the turd as it flies towards the object.
Yeah, sure. Let me just go ahead. I'm just gonna add it to the cube since we already have it, this target here. So when we add the trail render component, which was the thing that you were seeing, you can see that it starts super big and pink because it has no material. The way to change the length, is by changing the time, which basically means how long is the trail going to, how do you describe this? It's going to survive.
Travel?
Yeah, travel. Yeah. And so if we do something like 0.1, means, did I do 0.2? 0.1. 0.1 means that the trail will be really small because it will only be there for 0.1 seconds, right? And you can see this little, let me just zoom in. You can see this little curve base. This little thing here means that how does the trail look over a lifetime? So it will basically look the same because it follows the red line. But if I add new keys with the right click of the mouse, I can basically change how it looks over lifetime. So this means it'll start at 1, but it'll finish at 0. So let's just see how that looks. Let me zoom out. And so it already is going to, do the little shape that we want. Of course, let's say, for instance, that you want to do that in the opposite way around for some reason. And then you do that the opposite way around. And now you have basically the trail, but starting small
Invert
and
it.
then, invert it. And this is the only reason why it's pink is because we don't have a material. We can just set a material. I recommend using default line or sprites default, which are materials that are already in Unity. And now it's gonna look white because here in the color property, this is what is trying to set the color. So let's try and set again to the little rainbow gradient that I have saved. And let's just fix this inverted trail, right? And so if we want to make it super long, let's do 5 seconds. And then what this means is that it's going to survive for much, much, much longer. So this is a
you're
cool
going
way.
crazy there.
I know. This is a cool way. Yeah, this is a very cool way to polish your games. Definitely a lot of games that have projectiles and actions, they have a lot of trail renders. So yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, Andre. That looks like an infant did that. So let's.
I mean, you're not right. You're not wrong. So
Dapper,
I see Saiku's in the chat. Hi, Saiku.
Hi, Psycho Sam. Thanks for hanging out with
Thanks
us.
for hanging out. Yeah. So while I'm at this, have you found anything, Nathan, interesting?
I have. I've posted it in this Discord call we're in. I thought that was so you could remember who it is later.
Gotcha,
Elena
you
can
dirty
announce it for
Dino,
sure.
because I was definitely eyeing that person for the winner too. So
Yeah.
you totally.
The double monitor
you wanna
setup
announce it?
is like, especially when learning, it's so much better. I remember I used to always just alt tab between things when I'm trying to watch and then go on to my own project, and it was just so much harder. But it's a really productive way to work, and I hope his project is coming along nicely.
I just did something wrong.
What are
Cool.
you
So
doing?
Jose at okay, I am definitely gonna butcher that one. Ciceraso_pix. You're our third winner. Thank you so much for entering to win, and thanks for hanging out with us today and participating. Again, keep an eye on your inbox after the stream. Not like immediately after, but shortly after, and then you'll find a gift card in your inbox. Congrats.
Cool. So I didn't mess this up. I was able to build the level. The only setup that you all need to know is the way Nathan has built this project is that every target you place in scene, it has to be a child of this little, like very explicit object called target handler. So it handles all the targets. So just make sure to drag them in here. So I made them basically static, and I really like that because it's easier, and I can make a lot of them just being together. Because then it looks like you're really good. You know what I'm saying?
Because you can actually kill them all easily.
Yeah, exactly. Because and then like it's also about the game feel. I feel like when you provide your player with like more success than failure, like with like some cool effects or whatnot, it really makes the player feel powerful. So that's pretty cool. So that's like a nice little tip, I guess.
Yeah, there's plenty of extra things people can work on adding if they really want to over time. Probably not in the duration of the stream, but they can add like a scoring system, like I mentioned earlier, or maybe a thing that tracks how many shots you fired to see, who can complete your game in the fewest amount of shots. You can also, obviously, on the side, tweak audio, sound effects. You can tweak the color of the health. So when they're full health, you see they are green, and then when they're on low health or dead, they go to red. You can tweak those colors if you like. It's really up to you.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things that we can do here, and I just, I just want to take this moment to like, of course, take a breath. Let's talk a little bit, of course, but I also want to read some stuff from the comments. But I want to thank everyone for being here. Of course, you may have joined recently or not, but I think it's really important for us to keep the stream of content flowing about beginners, intermediate. Well, like we keep that content for everyone because I definitely want to see more people into game development, and that's definitely one of our missions, of course. And like the times that we live right now, I feel like the more helpful we can be, the better. So that's, that's exciting for me. So thank you for everyone. But in order to add a little bit of conversation, I want to ask you, Dapper, what was your first game? Like, what was your first thing?
Well, when I first started, I was following along with projects that the people I was watching were working on. So if they were doing a tutorial about a platformer, then I'd be making that little platformer just to really pick it up at the start. And then once I gained enough confidence to write my own logic and make my own stuff, then what was the first thing? Well, I was, as most people when they start game development, they're overly ambitious, and like that's not a bad thing. But if you set your goals too high, you never finish making that game. It's always good as a beginner to make some smaller projects first, so you at least complete some games before then later on maybe trying something more difficult. So I did, as a lot of people do, give up on their first few projects. I think the first game I actually completed was a game for Ludum Dare. Now, a lot of people here will know what that is, but I'm sure there's a lot that won't. Andre, you know about it, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, do you want to? I'll talk about it.
Yeah, talk about it.
So, Ludum Dare is a game jam competition. So you don't have to enter it to win if you don't want to. And what happens is you get a limited amount of time to build a game from scratch, really. Usually for Ludum Dare, it's over the weekend. It's a 48-hour thing, I think, right? Or is it a bit longer? I'm not sure. Maybe it's 72 hours.
I think it's 48 hours for Living Dapper.
Yeah, and you get given a theme at the start of it. No one knows before then. Well, maybe the people organizing, but the point is you get given a theme and you have to just quickly brainstorm an idea for a game and make it in 2 days. So obviously you pick something smaller than your usual projects, but it actually helps you get something done. The theme for my first one was two incompatible genres. So I had to think of two things that just don't work together and then make a game for it. It's quite interesting. I chose card games because they're quite slow and methodical. And then I picked bullet hell games because they're known to be very, very fast and difficult. Nice. And so I made a game where you have to dodge incoming stuff by playing cards to move. So you have cards at the bottom of your screen, like if you're playing a card game, and then you drag them up to play them, but it actually just moves your character. So if you want to move up 5 spaces, you've got to quickly drag the card up 5 times. It was quite fun.
That actually sounds super fun, actually. Can people play that?
Yeah, I could go try finding it. I don't know where it is right now.
Okay, so it's your responsibility now. If a lot of people,
it exists on the internet. If people come to my channel and in some comments somewhere ask me for a link, I'll try finding it. But
that's cool. That's great of you. That's great. It's great for not being shy of your first projects. It's very important for everyone to know that everyone has their own first projects, even nowadays, right? Like sometimes you just make projects that are hacky or whatnot, but that's still fine. Everyone's still learning, right?
Yeah, I mean, since then I've entered like 1 or 2 more game jams. It's whenever I can find the time to enter them. I honestly think the first one I entered was probably my favorite. It's all down to the theme as well. And also, it's not just Ludum Dare that do game jams. It's other people. I mean, even Unity, right? Or at least you call them game jams.
Yeah, exactly.
And then also other content creators run game jams. I've tried doing one in the past, but I think I'm going to wait until my community is a bit bigger so we have enough of a turnout.
Speaking of which, please, everyone, help Dapper's community be bigger. So please don't forget to go ahead and subscribe to his channel because he's making a lot of content, both to beginners, advanced, intermediates, and yeah, don't forget to.
Then maybe I'll be able to host my own game jams.
There you go, exactly.
With enough people interested.
Would you please help me hosting the game jam, please? Yeah.
And guys, speaking of game jams, we have actually one coming up here on Unity's channel, right? On May 3rd. Is that so?
Yeah, exactly. That's that. I was about to say that. Thank you so much. That was kind of in sync. So this is not the end of it, of course. We will have much more content to cover. And we have a live stream coming soon, which, like Elena mentioned, is your first game jam. Some of you may have heard of it, but anyways, your first game jam is the idea that we're going to open one of the micro games in Unity and, kind of do a little game jam where we all modify that little thing and try to make our game. And it's kind of like the same vibe as this. We will have winners for people that are participating, for being active or whatnot, and you'll definitely learn a lot. And we'll have some exciting new hosts. So
yes.
Yeah. So keep an eye on for that. I think that the hosts are going to be Roman Papush and Soren. And that's going to be super exciting.
Yeah, guys, so come and join us. I think actually the links should be up for that on Unity's social media relatively soon. So you can set a reminder so you don't forget. Yeah, and we'll see you again back in May.
Cool. I mean, that kind of sets it up. Thank you so much, guys, for watching. I just want to leave this off to Nathan so he can say, a little goodbye, or a little message to people that are beginning right now, like their feelings or how it is to begin, or anything he wants really. And then after he's done, we'll close it up properly and send a little bit more information.
Yeah, so really, those of you who've followed along so far, you've had kind of a basic project to follow along. Obviously, making a game from scratch is not quite this simple. You don't have the code pre-made for you, though there are a lot of pre-made scripts and components inside Unity, like the box collider and the transform component. You can do a lot with just that. But then when you want to actually make some gameplay logic, then you need to either learn to start writing code, or grab a friend who knows how to, if you have a little team for that. But as an indie developer, at least when I started, you have to learn everything. I quite like programming. That's my main thing. I had to learn the basics of how to model something really simple, sound effects. You pick it all up. You learn a lot more skills than you expect to when you get into game development. I didn't expect to know lots of random information about all these different things that now I do. So yeah, just really try it. If you're making a game and you think, oh, I need to make a model for this, and you're not a modeler, just go for it. Like, make something bad. It's like, I mean, look at the turret I made. I chucked that together in about half an hour. Anyone who actually is good with Blender could have chucked that together in about 5 minutes, probably.
I mean, that's cool, right? Because they have your project. If they want to replace it, sure, like that's cool.
Yeah, I put the blend file in there so they can actually go, if they have Blender installed, to look exactly how it was made inside Blender.
Yeah, and I agree with you, Nathan. I think that like we definitely we want to see people experimenting. I just open OBS there. We definitely want to see people experimenting, like try new things, right? Like I agree with Nathan. I also try new things like 3D modeling. I don't do often. I don't do often a lot of sound, but it's always good to try to do that. But before anything else, we still have our last winner. So I'll just let Elena announce the last winner so we can move on with closing this up.
Sure. Guys, I temporarily forgot how to speak English. I think I was about to switch to Russian.
Now you only speak
I'm pretty sure I was about to
C#.
say spasiba. No, but actually, guys, we do have one last winner to announce. And because we really appreciate the time that you take to hang out with us and learn, we want to make sure that we show our gratitude, right? And today, the final winner is Adriana Longo. I hope I pronounced it right. Adriana, thank you so much for submitting your entry, and thank you for being here with us, participating. We hope that you guys walked away with something, whether it's just, hey, I should take this on if you didn't follow along, or you learned something new. Maybe it challenged you. Maybe it make you, kind of question the way that you're doing things right now. As, both Dapper and Andre were saying, when you're starting out, it's important to start out with something manageable, right? Don't get carried away, and don't get upset with yourself if you don't finish your first prototype. That's often the case when you're starting out, because, you learn things, new ideas start popping into your head, and sometimes you want to abandon something and move on to something, right? And that's okay, right? As long as you do end up finishing something, in the future, because by finishing something, you learn those final finishing touches. And speaking of which, I did see some comments from our viewers. We had some requests for you, Andre, to put some finishing touches on this, since you are quite popular in the community for that with your own videos. So hopefully that's something you can, do later. Maybe you can modify this yourself and share your own mix and jammed version of Dapper's game that he created for us. But
Absolutely.
That's really it for me, guys. Thank you for being with us. Adriana Longo, congratulations for being our last winner. And thank you for spending the time with us, guys. Cheers.
Thank you, Elena. That's so
Thanks,
sweet.
Yeah,
Guys. I guess for me, I'll repeat the same message as everyone. I think, there's a lot of resource out there. We provide a lot of resource, but we also have so many cool creators, just like Saiku that's in the chat. We also have Dapper that's hosting right here. So there's so many content out there. So don't forget that, for any topic that you have, there's an awesome community behind everything. So most of the things you Google, you will probably find a solution. So it's just a matter of keep trying, right? So that's the really key part. But with that, thank you so much. And Dapper, again, thank you so much for taking your time. We know that that it's not easy to sit down for a stream, but we really appreciate your presence here. And I hope that everyone learned a little bit, and I hope that people follow your content because definitely super interesting. And it's funny because in the last like someone in the chat just said Brackies, and there you go, Roman is in the chat. Roman is another creator, and Roman is the guest on the next live stream that we have on May 3rd, your first game jam. So Roman is also a creator. But anyways, I kind of forgot. It was so much excitement, but I remember what I was gonna say. I was gonna say that in the last stream, in all the streams, we had this how do you call it?
I feel like it's a tradition by now, isn't it?
Tradition, exactly. That's
Yeah.
the word I'm looking for. You can explain it, Elena, if you want.
Yeah, guys. So it actually started out, I think, on our first stream. Andre was at the time a co-host, a guest, and Psycho Sam was driving the stream, right? And we realized at the end that every single person who was in stream actually was not a native English speaker, because Sam speaks Swedish and Turkish, and then Christine Stock, she speaks German, of course, English as well. And Andre speaks Portuguese as a native language. My first language was Russian. So we thought, we were seeing so many people in the chat saying, hey, this is where I'm from, and saying goodbyes in their native languages. So we thought that we should send you guys off with final messages in our native language.
That's a bit boring for me.
It's fine.
Well, you can make it extra English. But Andre, do you want us to go first? What's the order today?
Please, Elena, go first.
All right, guys. So this is my goodbye in Russian. Дорогие зрители, огромное спасибо, что вы были сегодня с нами. Мы были очень рады, что вы нашли время провести с нами. Надеюсь, что вам понравился наш стрим и что вы будете с нами в будущем, когда мы будем делать новые streams. That was in English. Большое спасибо и до скорой встречи. Пока.
I like this. I really understood the stream part. That was really good.
Good job. You're almost fluent in Russian now.
Yeah, I feel like I've learned something this stream.
I'll let you go ahead, Dapper. I know it's English, but you know what? It's your native language, so no.
Yeah, a
problem.
lot of people will actually understand me this time. So thanks everyone for watching. Obviously, there's going to be more Unity live streams coming up, not necessarily with me hosting or co-hosting, but I mean, I'm going to be checking them out anyway. The next month's one with Roman. I don't know how far ahead has been planned after that, but I'm looking forward to that, to make that karting game. I've never actually made a driving game. It's quite a popular topic, and I don't even have a clue how to make a car in Unity. So I'm going to definitely learn something there.
That's exciting, yeah. Okay, so in my case, it's Portuguese, so gente, muito obrigado por ter assistido. O que a gente puder para continuar trazendo conteúdo para quem está começando ou para quem já está no meio, sempre bom. Então, obrigado por assistir, obrigado por ficar aqui por esse tempo todo, né? É um tempão, mas que bom que a gente tá junto aí aprendendo. Obrigado, gente. Tchau. And okay, so with that, we can finish this off. And guys, thank you so much for joining. And please don't forget to subscribe to our own Unity channel. Don't forget to subscribe to Dapper's channel. And please, let's keep going these kind of events. Don't forget that on May 3rd, we have another event, that your first game jam, that we're going to announce it and make links to it available. So don't worry about that. Just make sure to keep tuned, and we'll make sure to keep adding content to your knowledge. So thank you so much for joining. Bye-bye.
Thanks everyone. Bye.
Bye, everyone.
All right, I see a lot of people are still there. That's really great to see you guys. Thank you so much for still being here and chatting with us. I just want to show you a little thing that I just literally went to the post-processing and added a lot more bloom, and you can see how exaggerated this looks, but it looks pretty cool. And even when it looks cool, I'm still pretty bad at this aiming. But you know what? That's really fun. That was my encore.
Andre,
I just really want to go back.
Yeah, I didn't know you were going to come in with an encore, but now that you're here, do you want to show people how to put the bloom?
Yeah, of course. So this right here is called a post-processing effect, and Nathan has set it up here in the level base, and you can see when I click on the post-processing game object, you can see that there's a bunch of effects here: tone mapping, bloom, vignette. So for instance, vignette is this effect that creates this like border, and I can increase intensity. And the way I did the bloom, of course, I selected the bloom and I moved the intensity quite a lot. So you can see here, it basically creates this blur effect that makes everything shiny. Maybe we try a little bit lower. And if I play, we can just see here. Doom. There you go. But yeah, I just wanted to get back literally just to show this because I saw there was still people there. And thank you so much for being with us. Of course, we're all going to rest after this wonderful time on the stream, and I'll catch you guys later. Bye-bye.